Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm Jackson. I'm a 23-year-old financial coach who puts out videos weekly just like this one, all about my thoughts and experiences when it comes to personal finance, entrepreneurship, financial freedom, etc. Honestly, I believe that my generation really got left in the dust when it comes to how to manage our money. I mean, schools don't teach it, most parents don't talk about it, so it's really up to us in determining our success with money. So this channel is a way for me to promote financial literacy and sort of connect with anyone who's starting to trek down that path towards becoming financially free. So if that's you, then stick around, subscribe, hit the bell, and make sure not to miss one of my videos. They come out weekly on Wednesdays, and I just started a podcast that's coming out on Mondays too. And please make sure to hit the like button for the algorithm so more people like us can see these videos. It really helps the channel grow, which ultimately lets me make more and higher quality videos for you guys. This week's video is my top 10 tips when it comes to personal finance. So strap in your seatbelt, grab your pen and your notebook, and get ready. Tip number 1, know your worth. When I think of my worth, two things come to mind. First, I think of my worth as it relates to time. For example, when I was working just hourly positions, the most I was ever able to make was $18 an hour. So at the very most, I was worth $18 an hour, right? Well, not really, because I had to eat, take breaks, sleep, do other stuff. It's not like I was working 24/7, making $18 an hour. I don't think anyone really does that. So you get the point. My worth was probably closer to like $10, $11, $12 an hour. But as you begin to work for yourself or find yourself in a position, maybe a commission position, where the amount of money that you make is determined by your results and your skills as opposed to the amount of time that you put in. But ultimately, the way to increase your worth as it relates to time is to focus your time on what is most valuable for you to be doing. So for example, for me in my business, my time is most spent when I'm actually working with a client, helping them with their money, because that's what I get paid to do, right? As much as I love doing it, I'm not getting paid to make these videos or post on LinkedIn or, edit these videos, all of that. So as time goes on, I look to outsource and pay other people an hourly wage to edit these videos and to manage my social media so that I can spend more of my time providing more value to my clients. And as a result, I also increase the value of my own time. And the second way I think about this is just your overall worth in terms of net worth, money-wise. And it's important just to know where you're at with your net worth. What are your assets? What do you own? What are your liabilities? Having a clear idea of this is the best place to start if you're looking to increase and sort of make your goals based on your net worth. Tip number 2 is pay yourself first, always. So this is like the golden rule when it comes to budgeting. Whenever you have money, before you put it towards your bills or stuff that you want to spend your money on that month, put it away. Take a certain percentage, whatever you can afford, whatever is comfortable for your situation, and put it towards your goals, towards the future. Don't actually spend it that month. Or put it into an investment. Put it to work for you. Have it start growing. People who are successful with their money are adamant about paying themselves first. And not just on the first of the month when you set your budget, but also when you have these windfalls, when you make money that you weren't really expecting throughout the month. For example, you look in your account and you have $1,200 from the IRS as a stimulus check, or some money from the SBA as a business loan. As soon as that happens, take that money and put it as much as you can possibly afford comfortably towards your savings goals, whatever is most important, and then pay your bills with whatever is left over. The best way to do this that I've found is to set up an auto transfer with your bank, so as soon as you get paid, a certain percentage or a flat amount gets sent to a separate account. That way it's out of sight and you're not not as tempted to spend it. Tip number 3, super obvious, but keep a budget. How else are you really going to keep track of what's going in and out every month if you don't keep a budget? Let's be honest, we all know that we should, but most of us don't because of a lot of misconceptions when it comes to budgeting. Be flexible. Don't make budgeting tedious. Have fun with it and look at budgeting for what it is. It's simply a way for you to make sure that you're spending your money as it relates to your priorities. Making sure your entire paycheck doesn't go to ice cream, for example, which you ultimately regret buying when really you could be saving up for your first house or paying off your debt. So if you really want to manage your money and have a good idea of where your money goes every month, it's crucial that you keep a budget. Tip number 4, avoid bad debt. So what do I mean by this? Bad debt is any kind of money that you owe that you just lose money on. In other words, just a sunken cost. So big examples of this are financing a car. Say the car's worth $40,000 and you take out a loan and just put a small down payment. Then after interest, you end up spending a bit more than $40,000 on that car. That's bad. We want to avoid that. Or credit card debt. This is money that you spent that you are paying back, and now you're paying a ridiculous interest rate on it. All of these forms of debt, anything that just simply loses you money, should be avoided at all costs. And if you are in a position where you do have some debt, it's okay. You have time to pay it off. Just be adamant about it and do it first before you even approach other goals. Because when it comes to debt, time is your biggest killer because every day that goes by is another cent you're paying in interest. Which leads me to tip 5, leverage good debt. So I'm of the belief that debt comes in the category of good or bad. There are some forms of debt that simply lose you money. Bad debt, strictly bad decisions. But on the other hand, there are ways to borrow money that, in my opinion, can be overall beneficial. The biggest example of this you'll see in real estate. Investing in real estate or taking out a mortgage to own a property that you will, say, sell for a profit or rent out for passive income in the future, that's an investment that's making you money. Even though you couldn't afford the entire property in the first place, borrowing that money in the long run will make more money than you end up paying in those interest payments. So when you look at your personal finances, think of bad debt as a liability, something that lowers your net worth, and think of good debt as something that raises your net worth, and try to acquire good debt at all costs. Make it one of your goals. Tip 6, fund a retirement account. So if you're young like me, then we have nothing but time on our sides, and especially if you want to retire early, the earlier you start saving up for that lump sum or that passive income down the road, the better off you'll be. There are a lot of different options here. I'll put out a more in-depth video on retirement accounts in the future if you want. Let me know down in the comments. But one of the most popular for people our age is a Roth IRA for tax implications. Essentially, you pay taxes now when you put your money into it. Well, I mean, we're not making a whole lot, and typically we're in a lower tax bracket, so that when we pull the money out later on, it's entirely tax-free. And the idea here is that we're saving a lot in taxes because we'd be in a higher tax bracket ideally when we're taking the money out. So once you have your budget in place and you're adamant about paying yourself first, a retirement account is one of those places that money can go. Just set aside a comfortable amount and be consistent about it every month. Set it and forget it is the best way to do it. Tip number 7, take full advantage of employer benefits. So if you're employed and you work for a company, you may have noticed that there are different benefits that are offered. There are typical health benefits, dental, vision. Some employers offer life insurance, 401ks, all of that. If your employer offers a match on a 401k, take advantage of it. That's free money that your employer is giving you to invest for your future. It would be silly to leave it on the table. And on top of that, look at what sort of risks you're susceptible to. For For example, say your health insurance has a really high deductible, then maybe it makes sense to take out a supplemental policy that pays you directly when you get hurt, sick, whatever it may be, or maybe dental because you can plan for that. And then it turns out having that insurance in the long term will actually save you money and offer you more security than it costs you in premiums. So always do your own research here and ask your employer if there's a representative you can talk to. Maybe they offer a supplemental benefit, or maybe it's just major medical, but whatever it may be, try to talk to the representative or get as much information as you can if you can't talk to somebody, and try to take full advantage of what's available to you. Sometimes employers will even put a certain amount of money for the premiums. They'll pay for some of the policies for you. All you have to do is just ask. Working in this area, I've come across a situation a lot where employees have no idea that they had these benefits available to them, and in a lot of cases it could have helped them out, in the past. So if you are employed and you have benefits available to you, at least just know what they are so that you can take full advantage of them. The best decision may be to do nothing, but you won't know that until you seek it out. Tip number 8. Reduce tax liabilities. So I am not a CPA, I'm not registered to give tax advice. This is entertainment purposes only, but I will say as a business owner, what you claim as a tax write-off at the end of the year really makes a big difference on the overall amount of taxes that you pay. That's just facts. So make sure that you are making smart choices on a personal and a business level so that you don't end up paying more taxes than you need to. Honestly, the best way to go about this would be to talk with a CPA. Through different networking events and whatnot, I've become friends with a couple of CPAs, so I just ask them for advice whenever I'm kind of iffy on tax stuff. I'd recommend you do the same. You can also do a lot of your own research too. This stuff is online. But overall, the goal here is you want to make sure that you're not shelling out more money to the IRS than you should. And I've seen a lot of examples where this ends up making a huge difference in people's situations. Which leads me to tip 9, keep good records. It's rare, but people get audited. And one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen people make is not have good records. First off, when it comes to taxes, if you don't know what you can write off, you may be losing money there. But secondly, if you are unfortunate enough to get audited, then there are a lot of fines that you could pay, and just in other words, money lost because you didn't take the couple of minutes or whatever it may be to stay organized and keep things in the right place. Keep a filing cabinet, keep things on your computer, keep a thumb drive, whatever is secure and comfortable and works for you. But make sure all of your expenses, income, all of your money information is stored securely somewhere that you can access easily. And lastly, best for last, tip number 10 is invest. Honestly, the best advice I can give you, though I can't give you specific products to go out and buy, overall, if you're young especially, you should be investing your money. They teach us how to make money, but the two other super important skills when it comes to being successful with money are saving it and growing it. Learning how to budget and avoid tax liabilities, fees, all of that, that's in the saving it category, but you really want to look into your options in the growing it category too. How can you make your money work the hardest it can for you? And there are a lot of options out there. You probably heard me talk about real estate. You probably heard me talk about stocks. I love dividend growth stocks. But the overall idea is if your money is just sitting, say, in a shoebox in your closet, every day it's slowly able to purchase less because of inflation. And right now, those percentages are starting to ramp up. So it's important that your money is getting a good return wherever it is. And historically, though it has its hiccups, though it has its recessions, the stock market likes to go up from a long-term perspective. They'll tell you 5, 6, 7%. And that's a good rate. That's above the rate of inflation. So if you have the perspective of investing, just say even in the stock market, say you go for a broad index fund, use the perspective that you won't be touching that money for 20, 30, 40 years from now. And in that time, it will foreseeably grow 5, 6, 7%. There may be times that it's worse to take out than others. For example, if you thought you were going to retire in March, April of 2020, you may have to wait a little bit. But overall, you can sort of hedge your bets that that balance will go up, at least more than that shoebox money. Put your money in real estate, start getting passive income. But ultimately, you really want to have your money working for you so you can transition from working for money. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it gave you a little bit of inspiration to go out and start doing some of these things if you aren't already. Gosh, I have no idea what's going on with the focus. But anyways, if you like this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It's either here or here. I haven't figured that one out yet. But I do know that it lets YouTube know that you guys are liking the videos, so they show it to more people, and that helps my channel grow, which I've said it a lot of times, but it helps me make better videos for you guys, seriously. So if you could take the second it takes and that little wrist flick that it takes to like the video, I would really appreciate it. It's really crazy how just a couple seconds of hitting the like button can make such a big impact towards the message that I'm trying to spread of financial literacy. Also, if you don't want to miss any of these videos, then make sure to subscribe. That one's honestly more for you than me. Oh, and I have a question for you. With all of the nonsense that gets tossed around on this beautiful place that is the internet, what is the absolute worst financial advice that you have ever gotten? Let me know down below. Till next week, peace.